Trump is working and the Republicans are fighting against him. The fascist left threatens to kill again. And the inconvenient truth about Al Gore. That all next on The Michael Newman Show. Welcome, one and all, to The Michael Newman Show. Thank you for joining us today. It's going to be a wonderful show. I'm going to try to keep it was like 50 minutes yesterday. I looked at it at 25, and I'm like, oh, well, we'll be fine. We'll be done in here about 5 minutes or so. And then I looked at the podcast when I was done. It was 50 minutes long. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. It'll be much shorter today, although we do have a lot to get to. Go to the website, michaelnewmanproductions.com. There you can get all the links for today's show. Plus, you can email me. Just click the contact link. Check out my Twitter. My handle is NewManiac1. Facebook and YouTube. Check out the services link, all the things that I can do for you. And please, please, please support the show. Take the links that you get for the show and circulate them around. If you get it on Facebook, don't just like it or whatever. Just, send it back out again. Resend that out so we can try to get these things to grow a little bit. Same thing on Twitter. Retweet those links. It would help me out a whole lot. And you can go to the website, of course, and click the support icon. It's a big blue button right in the center there. When you click that, it takes you to a page. It describes Patreon and tells you how you can help out me for as little as $1 a month. Pretty cool deal. So what's going on? Well, a bunch of things that I've talked about before, and a bunch of things that I've predicted before, and a bunch of things that I've told you before that are finally coalescing into something where people other than me are saying them. And it feels nice, right? I would like to get a little credit, maybe a check, but at least it's happening and it's good for the country. Does it mean everything's fixed? No. But maybe some people are at least waking up to it. A man accused of breaking into a 65-year-old woman's home, sexually assaulting her, stealing her car. He was arrested after allegedly assaulting another woman and running from police. Sergio Jose Martinez, 31, was caught on July 24 after officers chased him through a neighborhood. Martinez has a history of being an illegal alien. In fact, he's been deported 20 times. Deported 20 times. The entire country is a sanctuary city if we don't have a wall. That's what the wall is for, to keep people from coming back over. Yeah, we can deport people. We deported this guy 20 times, and he came back and stole a car and raped a 65-year-old woman and assaulted somebody else. Finally, they picked him up. Maybe he'll get some time in jail. I don't know. But it's a problem. Immigration, illegal immigration more specifically, is a problem. Frankly, I think legal immigration is a problem we need to watch out for, but mostly at this point in time, it's illegal immigration when it comes to violence. Here's another one. A 23-year-old dreamer, oh, thank you, Barack Obama, in Washington State is accused of brutally raping, and this is bad, a 19-year-old woman in her apartment complex gym, leaving her with facial injuries, a broken jaw, and a dangling ear. He ripped most of her ear off. It's insane.
She was beat unconscious in her apartment's physical fitness room and then raped. It was not an illegal alien that reported that person.
Now, that's the reason why he said that. It wasn't an illegal immigrant to report this person. We're talking about a sanctuary city here. Talking about Seattle. Okay. And one of the arguments for sanctuary cities that they like to use is it makes people actually safer because people within the community can feel safe in going to the police and reporting the bad people. But if police are looking for all the illegals, then they won't go report crimes, and then crime is just going to skyrocket. That's their argument. And he blew that argument by saying, look, this person was a dreamer. This person was an illegal immigrant, and he was here, and it wasn't another illegal immigrant that was safe in a sanctuary city that reported him. No. Woman ended up stumbling home with missing teeth, a bloody head, and wearing only a black tank top, according to court documents. Salvador Diaz-Garcia, an illegal immigrant who was a recipient of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, or DACA, is now facing second-degree assault and rape charges in the vicious attack. He also faces child molestation charges for allegedly assaulting a 14-year-old the same day. Same day the rape occurred, he assaulted the 14-year-old. I don't know if it was before or after, but either way, he didn't get his fill. His DACA status has been revoked, so he may be deported now. Oh, isn't that nice? Oh, you're a rapist, and oh, you're no more. Oh, man, he lost his DACA status. It's terrible for him. That's just racist. That is racist. So I bring those stories up to bring this up in relation to President Trump. It seems like Trump's actually starting to move things. He's actually doing things, believe it or not. There's a lot of news out there that says, well, he's not doing much. And these commentators, oh, what's going on? Congress isn't getting anything done. Nothing's getting done. Well, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security said on Tuesday it would waive environmental and related laws in order to expedite building security-related barriers on roads along the nation's border with Mexico near San Diego. It's a move. Okay, it's a move towards a direction. The EPA could be a huge, look, even if we funded the wall, the EPA could be a huge roadblock to get anything built. And the only way to fix that would be to get out in front of it and start alleviating useless environmental regulations that get in the way of the national security of the United States of America. And that's what they do. And that's what they would be used for in this instance to stop the wall. And also, Trump is going a bit further. President Trump on Wednesday teamed up with two conservative Republican senators to roll out new legislation aimed at dramatically curbing illegal immigration into the United States and legal immigration into the United States.
The RAISE Act will reduce poverty, increase wages, and save taxpayers billions and billions of dollars. It will do this by changing the way the United States issues green cards to nationals from other countries. Green cards provide permanent residency, work authorization, and fast track to citizenship. For decades, the United States was operated and has operated a very low-skilled immigration system, issuing record numbers of green cards to low-wage immigrants. The RAISE Act ends chain migration and replaces our low-skilled system with a new points-based system for receiving a green card. This competitive application process will favor applicants who can speak English, financially support themselves and their families, and demonstrate skills that will contribute to our economy. The RAISE Act prevents new migrants and new immigrants from collecting welfare and protects U.S. workers from being displaced.
Okay, now this could be good. This could be bad. There's two different sides of this coin because I haven't actually seen the RAISE Act. I'm not sure exactly what it does. But it does, according to the legislation itself, reduce illegal immigration by almost half, which is a good thing. I mean, we allow more legal immigration in this country than virtually anybody on the planet. And it would reduce that by half, which is a good move. But I'm wondering if there's some veiled stuff in here to just get rid of the H-1B visas altogether and just allow companies to import workers, high-skilled workers, to displace more expensive American workers, right? H-1B visas have been used that way for a while, even though it's completely illegal, you see. Now, he adds some language in there that talks about how it prevents workers here in the United States from being displaced. There's language like that, very strong language like that within the statutes for H-1B visas, and it's being ignored today. So the question is, and I actually haven't heard Trump talk at all about H-1B visas and what he's going to do with that situation. So I'm wondering if this is just a mass import of brain power at a cheap rate so that they can displace Americans. I'm wondering if it will end up being that. If that is the case, then the legislation has to be changed. We need to wake up people on it. But it's a movement, and it's a big movement, and that's a big move for this president. You know, it's been illegal immigration that he's talking about, and frankly, for the left, you're not making a good argument against illegal immigration or allowing illegal immigration because it's illegal. Everybody knows it, and everybody knows that it's not racist. It just happens to be criminals that we're importing into the United States, and we don't want them here. If you want to come to America, you come through the front door and you do it properly, you get vetted. That's the way it works. And even immigrants into this country don't particularly want illegal immigration either, by a wide margin. So they're not doing a good job. And everybody's pretty much on the side of ending illegal immigration. But taking that next step and saying we need to reduce the number of immigrants coming to this country, period, that's a big step. And it's right. I actually, my plan for immigration is a moratorium for 50 years, meaning no immigration, not even barely a visitor's visa for 50 years. 2 generations. 2 generations, it just stops. No more illegals, no more legals, no nothing for 50 years. And allow people to integrate within society, learn the language, become productive citizens, start building a life, start building a career, start building a generational thing, and start raising the middle class in this country by shutting off the inflow of cheap labor from overseas. We have to do it. But at least this is a start. Now, Laura Ingraham did the satellite thing, which I don't even want to do that ever. That just seems like it would suck because there's like a 2-second gap between, huh? What did you say? Oh, yeah. And you can't talk over each other and nobody can hear it. It's kind of stupid. But she was on Hannity and made the point. And it's a point that I've made 1,000 times before. Republicans don't seem to want to get anything done.
Because we know, going all the way back to the IRS scandal with Lois Lerner and that total fiasco, that the Obamas were serious about intimidating the right, preventing them from speaking on key issues, and fighting back in every way that they know how. And the Republicans, they're always playing this genteel game of politics, and the Democrats they're out for blood. I mean, they are out for political blood, and they mean business. Well, right. I think you pointed out, a lot of them don't want Donald Trump to succeed. A lot of them don't like his policies. You heard from Jeff Flake. He represents not just himself and maybe John McCain. He represents a significant Chamber of Commerce wing of the Republican Party on immigration, trade, and going on to the interventionist foreign policy of George W. Bush, which some people might disagree with as well.
They don't want to get anything done. Now, let's qualify that. They don't want to get anything good done. They don't want to get the work of the people done. They don't want to get rid of Obamacare. They like it because they understand that Obamacare is leading to single payer, and that's what they ultimately want, to be able to control who lives and who dies in this country via health care and a sixth or probably more of the economy, right? And there'll be no way out for the American people, especially people in the middle class and below. You'll have to accept it at the point of a gun. And if they decide that you're not in the proper group to get health care, well, then I guess you just die, right? That's what's going to happen. That's what the Republicans, that's what the Chamber of Commerce wing, as she put it, of the Republican Party, that's what they want. It's about control, just like the Democrats. It's about power, just like the Democrats. They are the elite of society, and they believe themselves so superior to the rest of us rubes out there that it is their place, their God-given station in life to dictate to the rest of us. That is what they believe, and that is what they're moving towards. And with all this nice, wonderful, contentious politics we've got today, it's great because it's actually shaking things loose and showing the true colors of people and who they really are. Now, as far as getting things done, I have the sinking suspicion that Republicans can get some stuff done. If they really wanted to get stuff done, I have a feeling they're going to be able to do it, right? And it's probably going to happen in short order, and it's going to be huge amounts of spending. Get this, from the Wall Street Journal, Republicans are leaving town in August for recess after failing to repeal the Affordable Care Act. Now, when they return in September, they'll have just 12 working days to avert another big problem. Oh, no. What's that? U.S. Treasury Secretary said the federal borrowing limit or debt ceiling needs to be raised by September 29th or government risks running out of money to pay its bills. Oh, no. we have to raise the debt ceiling again after all this spending. Isn't that wonderful? And they only have 12 days to do it. Can they make it happen? I bet you they get it done in 12 minutes. I'm not kidding. Of course they're going to raise debt ceiling. Yeah, spend more money. Sure. They'll be able to get that done. But 7 years to do a clean repeal of Obamacare? Can't do. Oh man, there's not enough time. We have enough power. We don't know what we're doing. Build a wall. Oh, I couldn't possibly build a wall. Blah. All that money. Blah blah blah. So this will be the test. Will Republicans be responsible and stop spending, or will they do what they've always done and spend our children's futures like drunken sailors? It's all debt. There's no money. That literally, they're saying raise the debt ceiling so we can borrow more money, get more money that we don't have to spend on things that we don't need. It'd be nice if you could do that. Just as a person, wouldn't it be nice if the government just issued you a never-ending credit card, as long as you make the minimum balance, then you're fine. Oh, and it's not only as long as you can make the minimum payment or the interest payment. You can charge the interest payment. Wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah, just keep it circulating, baby. Inflation wouldn't matter. Oh, so good. So that's the deal with politics today. And I told you this long ago. The Republicans don't actually want to do. The mainstream of the Republican Party, the elites of the party do not actually want to do or frankly, will not do the things that they campaigned on. They just said them to you. They lied to you to get elected. This is the group of people, the Paul Ryans, the Mitch McConnells of the world, have to go. We have to clean out our closet, right? We have to get rid of those people. And we have to start moving towards people that are actually truthful in their intentions, or nothing real is going to happen. So, does that shut people down? That nothing is getting done? Oh, Trump's not doing anything. No. He's still as much of a Nazi as he ever was, according to the left. Protesters protested Ann Coulter. It was at, the Politicon convention in Pasadena, California. It happened over the weekend. Shouting a whole bunch of stuff like... I'm going to keep that one, by the way. That's going to be a good drop for future, especially when I'm going on and on and on about, I can't believe it. These people are just, It's almost as good as scumbags. Matter of fact, I had to clean up the iPad the other day and I deleted that. I'm going to go find it. But these are a bunch of scumbags. That's one of my favorite drops. It works all the time. So they're chanting that during this event where it's supposed to be left and right, and we're actually talking politics, but they don't want to talk politics. And of course, this is a very contentious type of political season. Ann Coulter also she's a huge star. She's got fans out there. So when they started screaming, "You Nazi leader," then there was somebody to back her up, and it was just a crazy incident there, and that's what the left has been doing. Now, understand, they're screaming, "You Nazi leader." Matter of fact, they were dressed up with brown shirts and then Nazi swastikas and the whole thing. They wanted to try to make a point, and the point that should be made, and it's a point that I've made several times for several years now, that we're not the Nazis. Okay, the right is not the Nazis. Far leftists are the Nazis. The ones that use force to gain power, those are the Nazis. And it's happening all over this country. There's a lot of people that don't feel safe in this country anymore. From the Daily Wire, State Chair of Minnesota's college Republicans filed dozens of police reports after hundreds of death threats and harassment. She did an interview with this publication, Raging Freedom, and talks about some of the things that happened to her and some of the things that she knew about had happened in her state and around her area to college kids, specifically to the young college Republicans out there. She says a lot of kids have been attacked.
Actually, in Minnesota, earlier this fall, we had a college Republican at Gustavus Adolphus University get assaulted for wearing a Make America Great Again hat, and they were attacked. And then we also had an attack on the University of Minnesota campus too for another person. I believe they had a Trump sign in hand, and they were attacked.
And these are not mainstream speakers. These are not the Ben Shapiros of the world, the Milo Yiannopoulos of the world. These are just regular, average, everyday folks that you have absolutely no right whatsoever to attack them for their protest or for their speech. They're holding a Trump sign. You don't get to hit them for that ever. No. And the fact that these people, it just keeps happening because there's no repercussions, there's no pushback to this, means that we've got a problem with the way we're enforcing our laws. And some of this stuff, it gets even worse. There's actually 2 more clips here. I think I'm only going to do one because the last one is very long. It actually goes into Madison's personal story and this saga about what happened to her. And it's pretty scary. It is pretty scary, but it makes a lot of sense. But this story is one that I think you can hear quite often. That, you know, they don't even want to associate with people on the other side, or conservatives or Republicans or whatever it would happen to be, even when it's a point that the two agree on. Okay, when the crazy left or these I guess Antifa type people, these leftists on college campuses, and it comes down to an event or an instance, something that happened in the news, and the conservatives actually agree, and they say, well, when both parties look at this same thing and say, okay, this is wrong, you shouldn't do this, the right accepts people in from the left to agree on this issue, whatever the issue might be. That is the right. The left does not even want you to be on their side because they are filled with hate. Right? If there were Jews in Nazi Germany that really wanted to take over Poland, they're going, yeah, let's go get them. France, ha ha ha, take the wine and bust it. And they were nuts, crazy in the head. Well, they wouldn't be allowed to fight in the war. No, they might be able to, be in a slave camp or something. But the Nazis hated the Jews so badly, it wouldn't even accept their help in the war. They're not going to partner with them, not by and large. They're not going to create a policy of, hey, if you hate Francie, then you can come out and you're not really a Jew anymore. You can come out, we'll gas you later. If you want to go fight. Right? It's a tremendous amount of hate, and that's what this story is about.
St. Olaf College, they recently had a huge protest going on throughout their university because apparently there was a left on a person of color's car. It turned out that the note was actually wasn't real. It was made up by someone else to draw attention to the Black Lives Matter movement. But during the time of the protest, the conservatives could not come out. One of the college Republicans went there to stand in solidarity with people and stand against racism, obviously. And they told her that she could not be there because she was conservative.
Wow. We're standing against racism, but you're a conservative, and we don't want you here.
I'm Nazi leader! I'm Nazi leader!
Yeah, we don't want you here because you're conservative. See how that works? It's the same thing. And, I really feel sorry for black people in this country, specifically if you happen to be a black conservative, because you think the white cis male is hated. Not anywhere close to a black conservative. They can call you whatever they want to call you because many of them are black as well. They'll call you the N, they'll call you coon, they'll call you whatever they're going to call you, and they literally hate you, Uncle Tom. That's what they say. And just the amount of vitriol that you would receive for that it's frightening. So, the funny part about that is, they're always caught up in words like racism and things of that nature, but they're not actually concerned with race. Race really doesn't matter. Sex doesn't matter. Sexual orientation doesn't matter. None of that actually, all those things they want to bring attention to don't actually matter. The only thing that matters is their politics, their ideology. And if you happen to be within one of those specialty protected groups, but you don't follow the ideology, then guess what? You don't even get to be part of your race anymore. You see? So all of the arguments from the left are completely hollow and disingenuous, especially the argument that Nazis were on the right. I've been saying this for a long time. And finally, there's a guy that's saying it as well. Dinesh D'Souza's got a new book coming out, The Big Lie, Exposing the Nazi Roots of the American Left. Yeah, that's where the American left came from, the Nazis, more specifically the progressives, the Wilsons of the world, the Hillary Clintons of the world who love to follow progressive politics. Progressivism is Nazism, okay? That's kind of where it started. Eugenics. Breeding people, breeding the specifically correct race and breeding out things that we don't like within humanity. Eugenics, that was created in the United States, that was created by the progressives, and it was adopted by the Nazis, by Hitler. Thought it was a good idea. Oh, yes, race and breeding. That'll help out really well in Germany. And here goes the Nazi Party. Here's Dinesh D'Souza.
Fascism has always been a phenomenon of the left. Hitler and Mussolini were on the left. That's why Hitler called his party the National Socialist Party. He changed the name of the German Workers' Party to put National Socialist into it. Mussolini was a Marxist and the most famous socialist in Italy when he founded fascism. So I bring out not only the history, but I show that even today, the ideology and tactics of fascism are on the left.
Well, and it's apparent, too. I mean, if you're bright at all and you pay attention to politics at all, you pay attention to the sort of things that are happening in this country, you can recognize that the types of tactics being used by the left to get their political way are the same type of tactics that were employed in Nazi Germany. The brown shirts are everywhere. They call them Antifa today. That's what it is. And the sad part is, and frankly, I don't know that there's a whole lot of youngins that are in these movements that actually realize that they are what they claim to hate. No, you are the fascist. You are the Nazi. If you want to look at it from a historical perspective, juxtaposed with your actions in modern day, then you are the Nazi. You're claiming that we're the Nazis because of all the things we're going to do, all the things Trump is going to do, which, number one, you can't prove what he's going to do to begin with. Number two, he hasn't done them. Number three, it's just words. And number four, you are actually doing things that are Nazi-esque. It's kind of scary that people are so dense. They are so dumb. Maybe they're just so indoctrinated and then prevented from learning to think through all their education that their brains have created pathways that they just can't get around. Maybe they're not really dumb. They are just brainwashed. I guess that's a positive way to look at it from an individual perspective, and maybe we can find a way to break that brainwashing, but I don't know. Now, how does Mr. D'Souza characterize the right?
The right is defined by individual rights and small government, and so the extreme right would be sort of no government at all. Let's pull up all the stop signs, get rid of all government whatsoever, no safety labels on products, and so on. So you can argue against that if you want, but on the left, the ideology of the strong centralized state, that's fascism, that's communism, and increasingly that's the Democratic Party today. If you read from Mussolini's speeches at a Democratic National Convention and didn't identify him, a lot of his lines would bring thunderous applause.
I don't think it's just today, though. I think the Democratic Party has been this for a long time. After JFK was actually pretty conservative, believe it or not. And but after that period period of time in history of civil rights movement and all the hippies and stuff out there. Well, the crazy leftist communist hippies ended up becoming college professors, and they're the ones that are educating your children. That's why kids today are the way they are, because of the 60s, because of the hippies, because of the free love and the drugs. That's why. And now it's turning into this thing where violence is acceptable for leftist ideology. They're terrorists is what they are. Terrorism is, I mean, the young Madison, the girl in Wisconsin that we just talked about, she made the point that it's literally dangerous to be a conservative on one of her campuses, and that people are reluctant to speak out because you may get physically harmed. Well, that is exactly what terrorists want. They don't care what you think, they care what you do. And if you are fearful and you cow down to those that are terrorists because you don't want anything bad to happen to you, then they have free reign to enact whichever policies that they wish, and there will be no opposition to them. Right? It's control through fear, which is the same thing that the left is trying to do in the United States. Control through fear. We throw Molotov cocktails and we have riots at speeches. Next thing you know, ain't no more speeches on college campuses, and they've got their way. That's basically what's going on. And they've got their head filled with a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And we'll wrap up with this story here. I told you I was going to keep it a little bit shorter today. James, I think it's Oker, Ooker, is the mayor of a town. It's an island town disappearing to the Chesapeake Bay. He's been a crabber all of his life, and he's at a CNN town hall with Al Gore talking about global warming. This is what the man had to say.
I'm a commercial crabber, and I've been working the Chesapeake Bay for 50 plus years. And I have a crab house business out on the water. And the water level is the same as it was when the place was built in 1970. I'm not a scientist, but I'm a keen observer. And if sea level rise is occurring, why am I not seeing signs of it? I mean, our island is disappearing, but it's because of erosion and not sea level rise. And unless we get a seawall, we will lose our island. But back to the question, why am I not seeing signs of the sea level rise?
What do you think the erosion is due to, Mayor?
Wave action, storms.
Has that increased any?
Not really. I mean,
so you're losing the island even though the waves haven't increased.
Yes, this erosion has been going on since Captain John Smith discovered the island and named it.
Yeah,
and
well,
it's gotten to our doorstep now, and we focus on it more.
Well, arguments about science aren't necessarily going to be of any comfort to you, and I'm sorry for what you're going through and your neighbors on Tangier Island. I read about you in the paper. There was an article in the Washington Post, I believe, after President Trump called you up. And won't necessarily do you any good for me to tell you that the scientists do say that the sea level is rising in the Chesapeake Bay and that you've lost about 2/3 of your island already over a longer period of time. And that the forecast for the future is another 2 feet of sea level. What would another, if there was another 2 feet of sea level rise, what would that mean for Tangier Island?
Tangier Island, our elevation is only about 4 foot above sea level.
Yeah.
And if I see sea level rise occurring, I'll shout it from the housetop.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have, the land to give up, but I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah. Okay, well, one of the challenges of this issue is taking what the scientists say and translating it into terms that are believable to people where they can see the consequences in their own lives. And I get that, and I try every day to figure out ways to do that.
That's a wonderful way to say you're lying about the whole thing, taking what the scientists say and trying to translate it into terms that you, the morons, can understand. Let me explain something to you. When science tells you something is happening that is not happening, it's not science. It's a lie. Okay? Science is supposed to be about empirical facts, and when global warming is involved, there are no empirical facts. It just doesn't exist. everything that they've claimed is happening actually today is inaccurate. They have to lie about temperature data to make it look like it's getting warmer outside. It's ridiculous. And you've got people like Al Gore out here, who's got a big name and a big face and a big fat ass, that keeps pushing this to people, by and large, and then very young people as well, impressionable children who are just going to accept what they're told because an adult said it, indoctrinating them into this religious belief. And next thing you know, you've got a whole bunch of followers that are willing to lay down their life and all their cash at your feet simply to save them. And that's simply what this whole thing is about. This is about cash. This is about money. On The Blaze, the author for The Moral Case for Fossil Fuels, Alex Epstein, joined Beck and some of his friends there to talk about Al Gore and his global crusade to combat climate change. And he said that, frankly, Al Gore needs to be kicked out of this conversation.
He is not trying to give us the whole picture. It's a completely biased, manipulative, and, for that matter, self-serving picture. And so he has no place, particularly because he's the most influential person on this issue in the world, indoctrinating tens of millions of school children almost irreparably. So, he needs to be excommunicated.
Yeah, he needs to be taken out of the conversation. But that's not going to happen because, A, we can't do that here in this country, and B, he ain't going to allow that to happen because he's got a lot of money to make. All right, friends, that is it. The end of the Michael Newman Show. I told you I wasn't going to go so long today. It's like 36 minutes, something like that. So you're welcome. Please go to the website, michaelnewmanproductions.com. There you can send me an email by clicking the contact link. You can check out all the social media, Facebook, YouTube, and go hit me up on Twitter, Newmaniac1. Check the services link too. And please, please, please support the show. That is right. Support the show. Just click support, and it takes you to Patreon, and you can make sure the show continues to go for as little as $1 a day. Hey, by the way, I've actually done a little prep for tomorrow. Isn't that nice? Coming up on tomorrow's show, the plan to strip you from your right to speak. And Democrats want you to worry about Russians while they steal the elections. There you go. It's all coming up tomorrow.